Scott, can you tell us a bit about your background at the company and your daily duties?
Sure, I'm the managing director of the Pan-African Group. I've been operating with the company now for 6 years. We started off, we went back about 6 years ago, we were principally an East African organization representing the Komatsu product line. And over the last 4 years, we've extended our operations into West Africa, Ghana, Nigeria, and Sierra Leone. It's been a great strategy for us, and now we've started to layer on additional complementary product lines like the Virtu Group out of Germany to enhance our capabilities in the civil and infrastructure market, and then the AGCO family of products, which includes Massey Ferguson, Valtra, and Challenger for the agricultural side of the business.
Absolutely, and Africa is the key growth point. You're obviously seeing an upturn there?
It depends on the markets. You have to actually look at it country by country. Unfortunately, quite often Africa gets phrased as a country rather than a continent. But and so you really do have to look at each market individually. We only operate in Africa. Our head office is in Dubai. We've got about 40 people there, but we have about another 360 across sub-Saharan Africa. I'd say West Africa is a little bit more challenged these days with oil prices and commodity prices. And the governmental situations in Nigeria and Ghana in particular. In East Africa, though, we are seeing a little bit more of a diversified growth in their economy, so not focused on just mining or civil and infrastructure, but agriculture. It's more diversified, so we are seeing a flow market there, which is good to see.
Absolutely, and the Komatsu name very pertinent in the mining industry. What sets that apart from its competition?
Well, I'd say with the Komatsu product, they grew from an engineering firm. They're not a marketing outfit. So what I like about Komatsu is they focus on product quality and product improvements, and their focus is on the sale, but on the sale only if we can provide the after-sale support. So their interest is more around productivity than I see many of the other manufacturers. Not to say that there isn't great competition out there, but when you look at Komatsu's roots, they're an engineering firm first. They're not a marketing firm first.
Probably a good thing, so you get less BS.
Absolutely.
And in terms of fuel's a big talking point in Africa. How do you balance getting the most economical engine, but still also being able to run in dodgy areas?
So you're talking about the Tier 2 versus Tier 4 situation?
Yeah, Euro 3, 4, 5.
Well, I mean, what that actually says is, you've got to focus on product that's designed for Africa. So when you look at what we sell in our territories, it's actually an Africa-built spec. So the machines are geared to operate in sandy, dusty regions, poor fuel conditions, high heat. And so in our markets, what it means is people that are selecting machinery that are looking for buying somewhere else, the challenge is a lot of what they bring into the territory will have problems. Used equipment also is another thing you've got to be careful with. You can't necessarily bring something out of Europe and the US and expect it to operate in Africa. So it's actually a good point for us because it means that people should come and chat with us first before they make those buying decisions so that they don't wind up, the machine is a capital expenditure, but you've got to think about it over the life of the project. And if that machine operates 6 months and breaks down, you may have got it at a great price, but it has no value for you in productivity. Whereas if we can find a solution for you that balances cost, but also protects your investment over the life of your project, that's what.
Have you seen a growth in your used business with a bit of a downturn in some markets?
A little bit, and people are inquiring a lot more about used equipment in our territories, which is actually an interesting thing because that can be beneficial. Like the pricing differential right now is pretty attractive. What I'd say though is in the work that we look at, that used market is a little bit overblown because you may see 2,000 units available from a used perspective globally. Maybe only 1,000 of those have enough life left in them that you could sell them and use them elsewhere. But then when you start looking at things like, in Africa, poor fuel, sandy, dusty regions, you can't necessarily pick up some of the used equipment in Australia or Latin America and bring it to our territories. So customers will ask us to go look, and we can find some good opportunities in very select product ranges, but it's not as readily available across the full product suite as you'd think, which is rather surprising, really.
In terms of maintenance and parts, when you go into remote areas?
Well, we operate a little bit differently in the sense that if you go to our territories, we do have main distribution branches and locations, but our model is tend to keep our fixed infrastructure small, and I'd rather invest on my customer's project site. So what we tend to do is put technicians on site, put parts supply on site, then that way the logistic issues are dealt with a little bit easier. And once you've got your maintenance plans in place, you just work the timing of your deliveries around the logistical challenges of our territories and work that into your stocking requirements.
So it's almost bringing it to the customers, so to speak.
Well, and it has benefits for both of us, really. One is it keeps my fixed costs down and keeps them variable, but it keeps it focused on our customer. And for them, it means that they can interact, my service technicians, my parts technicians can interact with their staff day in, day out, and that way we can manage the project a bit more real time. And to me, that's important.
And currency fluctuations in Africa obviously play havoc with you.
Very painful. But you know what we try and do with our customers is balance between US dollar capabilities and the local currency as best as we can. Nigeria is very tricky right now because you can't even get dollars. But currency devaluation is a challenge. Hard to create a solution for that really because it's something that's outside of everybody's control. I think what it means is just you continually have to come back with the most efficient operation. So even though you may have to pay a bit more in local currency relative to, you're finding other ways to bring either productivity gains or cost savings gains to your customers. It's really all you can do in that environment.
And so some of the technological R&D that goes into maintaining the space on the top echelons of heavy duty?
Yeah, it's a lot about, again, it's the maintenance regimes for your machines is the way we look at it. So, when you're setting up your maintenance plan, we'll give them the requirements under manufacturer specs, but if you do the right things in terms of oil sampling, you can extend the life of your components, you can extend but while maintaining the availability of your machines, and that just gives more hours of productive time for your customer. We're actually also putting a heavy push on GET with our Hensley product line because even though our customers may not be replacing their machines, they're looking at other ways to improve productivity. And the Hensley product so far with the work that we've been doing in Ghana, we can show improved productivity, reduced cost per ton by bringing them a better GET solution. So we're trying to help them in as many ways as we can.
Total cost of ownership.
Total cost of ownership. It sounds like a buzzword, but the reality is, you can bring in machines at a low cost, but if those machines don't don't move the earth, don't give them the productivity that they're looking for, then the value's not there. So you have to look at it over life of asset.
And Japanese cars and owners are the most reliable. That obviously equates into heavy duty.
I would have to say yes on that, but the reality is the product is very good. So it does have its capability, but you need to provide that on the ground support because without the people on the ground for us, that machine still will have a shorter shelf life. And so if we can work with our customers, that's where you do get the benefit of an international OEM that's been in the business for a very long time, but you get it with actually on-the-ground local support in sub-Saharan Africa, which I think is, you have to have. It's the only way it works.
Absolutely. And expectations for Indaba, I'm sure it's not your first event.
No. We come every year, and we've actually we've displayed. This is our third year for display. Certainly the traffic's down, but I would say the people that are here for a reason, and that actually makes the discussions more engaging. So, I have actually good expectations about it. I don't think we're necessarily going to be walking away with deals per se, but I think everybody's here for the same reason. They're looking for creative ways to continue to grow their businesses in these markets, and that's bringing more people to the table with creative solutions, whereas previously they may not have wanted to have those conversations. So,
absolutely.
Very nice to meet you.